So this is the plan. We are right at the south of France. We've got Spain here, Pyrenees across here to Andorra, and Toulouse up there. We are in Perpignan, and we will be catching the train up the Ariège Valley to change onto the little yellow train there and travel up to La Tour de Carol. Here we will meet the train which comes up from Barcelona and travels to Toulouse, but we will get off at Foix, F-O-I-X, Foix. From there we will travel by bus into Cathar country at Mirepoix, and back. Then we will leave again by bus, travel across Cathar country to Quillon and down to Carcassonne. We'll then travel across by train to Narbonne. Whilst in Narbonne, hope to go up to Béziers and back, and then back to Perpignan. While in Perpignan, we hope to travel down this line here to Cerbère and perhaps a little over into Spain. As we head for Stansted, we are already a day late. Yesterday's flight was cancelled because of French air controllers being on strike. When you go to a region to have a look around it, it's usually more convenient to book a hotel in a central spot and travel out from there each day. We flew to Perpignan, and to see the area it was necessary really to undertake a circular journey, each stage of which depended on the previous stage working to plan and to time. We had planned a spare day here in Perpignan to discover how to get onto the little yellow train which takes you right up into the Pyrenees. Nobody seemed to know whether it ran in the winter, nobody seemed to know how to get on it. There you are, Place de la Résistance, and this thing here has followed me from Sainte-Marie-de-la-Mer. There was resistance activity in this area throughout the war. RAF staff who had been shot down and other escapees were guided across the Pyrenees by local guides. After Normandy, the movement of German forces northwards was impeded, and after the invasion on the south coast, more activity. There is one of the martyrs who is commemorated in that name plaque. My hotel in Perpignan is on this little road here. If you just turn left at the top and walk 100 yards, you're at Perpignan station. The road is actually called Rue de l'Avenir at this end and Carré de l'Avenir at the other end, because we're now in Catalan country. My hotel room was, shall we say, individually styled. Perfectly satisfactory hotel, and after our circular tour we will be back here for 2 nights before leaving. Discovered how to get onto the little yellow train in spite of even the locals telling me several different stories. So the expedition is now back on track. All we need to do is walk up to the local station, catch a train up the valley, and at a certain station change onto the narrow gauge yellow train. So here we are in Perpignan railway station. Salvador Dali considered this to be the centre of the universe, the railway station, not the town. Nobody seems to know quite why, but he was born in Spain, obviously, in Figueras, not too far over the border, and I suspect that once he arrived here, he thought he could go anywhere in the universe. This train is taking us up the valley of the River Tete, up into the Pyrenees. The Pyrenees may be considered, and certainly is by the French, to be the natural frontier of France. But it's not too long ago that Catalonia as we know it today in Spain was joined with what we now call Roussillon in France in a Greater Catalonia. Ah, the little yellow train. Open carriages, unfortunately not in use today. Would have been better for photography. Ah, now here's a French Yorkshire Terrier. Unfortunately, he doesn't understand Yorkshire. We're steadily climbing into the Pyrenees, and we're going to see shortly at the next station an example of what Catalonia means today to these local people who live in France. The station is called Olette, O-L-E-T-T-E, and we shall see how the local people think it should be spelled, and there's the O-L-E-T-T-E, but someone thinks it should be O-L-E-T-A because we're now in Catalonia. Although the Moors, who had conquered most of Spain, did get across the Pyrenees, and in fact got as far, I think, as Toulouse, if not further, where they were stopped, the Pyrenees did really form a barrier to their major expansion. With regard to the story of the Pyrenees in the Second World War, the downed pilots and others who needed to escape the Germans were also, as I said, conducted across here into Spain. A lot were assembled at Perpignan by secret agents there, and most of those went by boat from the nearby beaches to Gibraltar. Other collection points were used, and the people from there were conducted across this terrain by guides, brackets smugglers, and we've got some idea of the terrain which they had to cross, avoiding of course the roads and the railways. Now we're about halfway along the trip now, and as this is single gauge railway, we're waiting for the down train to come into this station so that we can pass it and continue our journey. This railway was, I understand, built about 1910 as a sort of political gesture to the locals, and although it's still used by locals, it probably wouldn't still exist were it not for tourists. We are just about at the high point now of this particular trip, because we've got to be starting to descend now into the valley which is used by the Barcelona to Toulouse railway. I'm struck again here by the style of the houses. They seem to resemble what I always imagined to be Swiss alpine houses. I don't know whether they've been copied off each other or whether there's something in the climate which dictates this sort of thing. You may have seen the trip on the train around Mount Etna, and I saw the same sort of houses there. We're approaching now the end of the line at La Tour de Carreau. We'll then, as I've said, meet the Toulouse train. I think I must have been getting a bit overconfident about being back on track, or maybe it was the rarefied atmosphere. But here at the station we've got the narrow track, the French track, and over there the Spanish track, which is even wider. I was so confident that I was going to get on that French train in the middle there, that it's fortunate, here comes the Spanish train, it's fortunate I'd been speaking to another English chap there who could speak a bit of French, and he was a railway expert, and could tell from something on that train that it wasn't going to move, and at the very last minute he said, I'm going to ask if this has been replaced by buses, as I was so enjoying the view that it never occurred to me, and lo and behold it was replaced by buses, so I just made it.